that's back in about 1974. And of course, there at the university, you have a mahad or institute, which is for Arabic for non-Arabic speakers. I spent a year in that, and then went into university and living in Medina, living in an Arabic environment, because I didn't live on campus. Also, I lived in the city, so everybody around me was Arabic speaking. So you had to pick up Arabic quickly to be able to survive. So I could say by the time I graduated, that's 4 years later, bachelor's in Islamic Studies from the College of Usul al-Din, or General Islamic Studies, that I was fluent at that point. I was able to communicate easily enough. But what happened for me though is that after studying in Arabic in Medina, and I went to Riyadh to do my master's in King Saud University. I got involved in English now. I joined the international school, Manarat Riyadh, and developing the curriculum in English, and so everything was now shifted back into English. Even though I was attending classes in Arabic, in courses, in university, but English increased, and then I got involved in Dawah, so the English became even more and more, because Dawah to Filipinos, mostly in Riyadh, Filipino, and other nationalities. Mostly English was the means of communication. So the English became greater and greater, and writing for English audiences, trying to transfer that knowledge that I got from the Arabic sources in Medina and in Riyadh, and to transfer that now into English, so that English speakers would be able to benefit from it. This made the English still very dominant, with me. Some people I know who went and studied in Arabic and spent, that kind of time, their English became weak, and they couldn't even speak properly.
Sheikh Bilal, I wasn't planning to ask you this question. It wasn't in my mind, but you just brought it to my attention. You are a Canadian citizen, correct?
Yeah, born in Jamaica, but grew up in Canada.
You grew up in Canada. It just happened that during the first Gulf War, you were in the area, and I did not discuss this with you before, even in our private gatherings, but as general, said that you were somehow either deployed or requested by the army to give da'wah, and a lot of American soldiers, I believe in Hafr al-Batin, in that area, have accepted Islam through you, mashallah. If you want to share with us anything about this period of time, I will appreciate that.
Yeah, this was 1991, 92. This was the time of the first Gulf War. And alhamdulillah, there was a Saudi corporal or sergeant who had been trying to give dawah to the American troops that he was stationed with. And but his English was very weak. So, he was reaching out, trying to find somebody who could support him and help him. So he made contact with me. Somebody directed him eventually to me. I was in Riyadh there. So he invited me out. And so I went out and stayed out there with him, and began the process of giving dawah to American troops that were there. And especially the war didn't last very long. So most of the dawah took place after the war was over. The troops had to be processed. It wasn't Hafr al-Batin, it was in Dammam, the Dammam area, right? So Eastern province.
Well,
so
a huge number of American.
The total that accepted Islam from our base, where we were based in, and most of the dawah was being done in what they call Khobar Towers. It was in Khobar Towers. we from our base there over 3,000
Allahu
accepted
Akbar.
Islam in 5 months, in a period of 5 months.
And that, of course, did not please the American administration big time.
Well, that made me public enemy number one from that time till today.
Well, he didn't go to them, to the States. They came to you, so they accepted Islam. Over 3,000 American soldiers,
Yes,
only in one
mashallah.
base, brothers and sisters, only on one base. And through the effort, by the grace of Allah, Dr. Bilal Philips and those who were with him,
We had a team. I will not say this is all me.
that's why I
You
said,
know, we set up a team there. I invited some of my good friends from different parts who are working in Saudi Arabia, etc., to come out and join me. And we had about maybe about 6 of us that were engaged full time. We lived in Riyadh mainly. We came out and went back and took turns. And you know, I more or less I was the main presenter, but everybody else shared in, and we had some people from the States, people from the UK, people from Lebanon.
but you know, Dr. Bilal, during this time, you were not a military personnel. You never put on the uniform. You were not handed over a pistol or a machine gun or a grenade. You were just a da'i, an imam, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Why these guys got so upset and they made you like a number one public enemy, even though we in the States, in Canada, in Europe, we speak about the freedom of choice. So they have literally hundreds of thousands of missionaries, Christian missionaries, who travel across the globe in order to convert people to Christianity. So this is perfectly fine and acceptable for them. And when a person, one single person, and a small team along with him, giving da'wah to the American troops, and over 3,000 between soldiers and officers accept Islam, it shouldn't upset them. I mean, that's exercising the freedom of choice.
well, you know, maybe initially it didn't, because you see, this was even with the recommendation and support of the military top personnel, you know, the generals, etc., who were there. They encouraged us because they had you know, how many troops they brought into the country? About 500,000 troops. They had to process them back out of the country. The war was over. And how do you keep these troops busy? Normally in Korea, you know, or in Philippines or in Thailand, you know, they can let them go out and enjoy clubbing, but none of this was available in Saudi Arabia. So they were afraid that these troops now, with nothing to do, would create problems, you know, or anything which could divert them. And of course, it wasn't done in the name of, we are giving da'wah to American troops. No, the name of our tent, the main tent we had there was called the Saudi Arabian Cultural Information Tent.
Yes.
So the focus was on Saudi culture. So we had many books available on Saudi culture and the desert and the plants and the animals and, you know, all of these other things, you know. So we presented an open opportunity for the troops to find out about Saudi Arabia, because, you know, they came and they thought this was just a place of camel jockeys, you know, and then they saw these buildings and they, you know, and so they were quite shocked. It was quite
No,
a shock.
Dr. Bilal, you don't know about that, but I was a chaplain in the American prisons for more than a decade. And subhanallah, they used to hand over, the wardens would hand certificates to me and letters of appreciation, the effort of making some of the very violent inmates very calm, very polite when they accept Islam. But when the numbers started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now the Muslim community in many prisons, including some serial killers accepting Islam, learning, memorizing Quran and praying on regular basis, they said, wait a minute, that's it. We got to put a stop to that. So I think your situation, it started as, yes, you're offering us a service, taking care of our people in a way that we cannot do it. but it just crossed the level of mere entertaining them and keeping them busy and taming those who are kind of wild to become Muslims. Then we have to put a stop to that. I'm sorry I didn't mean to take you into this area, but in
No,
the
but it's an important area that people understand, what was going on in those times. And actually what came from it, which made it most notable, is that these troops that had come became Muslims and went back. Many of them left the military, but many of them stayed in the military afterwards. And then they started to demand their rights as Muslims in the military. They formed an organization called Muslim Members of the Military, MMM. And I was involved with them also. They put out a magazine and, they demanded their rights until, alhamdulillah, they got they got masjids, or we could say musallas, set up in all American bases.
Allahu Akbar. And
in the Army, in the Navy, in the Air Force, the Marines, they all have. It's a requirement now. And also even Muslim chaplains, because before that there were none. This is the great good that came out of that. They obliged them to get Muslim chaplains, and alhamdulillah, brothers qualified themselves, went in, and now we have Muslim chaplains, for all of the various bases across the world.
Habibi Abu Amina, may Allah bless you. I have a very big question for you, which is about the Islamic Online University. But I also know that there is only 3 minutes left for Maghrib, your time and Mecca time, to break your fast. So it is your choice. And also I have to be kind of nice to you and say, I don't mind at all if we conclude now so you can break your fast with the family, especially with Hamad, okay, the newborn. Then inshallah we can have another live interview next week, same time inshallah, but it will be dedicated to address the university effort and how did it start, the number of the students, the subjects that you serve, and it's a huge subject. I'm really interested to learn more in depth about the university. So it's your choice. If you're interested to resume right now, that's perfectly fine with me, and you still can grab a date or two to break your fast with. If you want to postpone it till next week, we'll be happy as well to host you again.
Well, it depends on the time that's available on your side. How much time have you set aside? How much longer you can
How much time can you give us? How much time can you give us?
Well, right now, alhamdulillah, my early programs, I've done them that were needed for earlier today. So
your iftar time.
I'm free.
How much time till iftar, your time?
Well, iftar is coming up. The adhan should be coming up now.
Okay.
So
then I would say, inshallah, we'll let you break your fast with a promise. Inshallah, Monday we'll be talking about the university and your effort in putting together I would say the pioneer Islamic online or distant learning platform. Is that all right with you?
Sounds fine. Sounds good.
I pray that
we had a few hiccups in getting things going, but inshallah it went well. Inshallah, yes. I hope the viewers benefited. Inshallah,
yes, from it. Of course. I see the comments and the remarks in front of me, and perhaps next time, inshallah, I'll give the viewers a chance to call you live on air. We're holding the phone calls, otherwise it will go crazy. A lot of people want to talk to you and ask you direct questions. Hopefully, inshallah, next time we'll give them this opportunity. Abu Amina, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. تقبل الله منا ومنكم صومنا وصومكم وسائر طاعاتكم وأسأل الله أن يغفر لنا ولكم. I really appreciate taking some of your precious time to be with me today to discuss some even of the very personal matters and family matters, because the viewers wanted to learn about the shuyukh and their personal life as well. To be continued, inshallah, next week, same time next week, inshallah, after Ask with Dr. Bilal Philips. Thank you so much. Jazakallahu khairan, Dr. Bilal.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khair, and thank you for inviting me on, sharing this with your viewers. And inshallah, we hope to be back with you again next week.
بارك الله فيك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaykum
Include us
salam.
in your dua at the time of iftar, Dr. Bilal, please.
Inshallah, inshallah. But may Allah accept our fast and our prayers of this month, and يبلغنا
Al-Jannah.
Laylatul Qadr, that we catch that. We have much more opportunities now, and that He gives us Saeed, and inshallah, good health and a new world to work with, inshallah, for the sake of Allah.
آمين. وصلى الله على
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. في أمان الكريم.